Okay, so we're at UDS-O, and I'm here with Luke Yelavich. And Luke, so you pretty much had the canonical accessibility efforts, right?
Well, the Ubuntu accessibility effort. Let's get that straight. It's not.
Sorry.
It's not. It's not a canonical effort only. In fact, I'm from Canonical. I'm probably the only one who really works on accessibility. It's not exactly. It's not even my full-time position. I'm also involved with maintaining the Ubuntu audio stack. So that's Pulse Audio and User Space, and the other parts of User Space also as well.
Oh, fantastic. So I know in the last cycle there was a lot of the groundwork was laid for the accessibility framework in Unity. So are there big plans for what's going to happen in the cycle on that?
Yeah, completed basically. We didn't get there. In my opinion, it was because Unity was such a moving target. We spent more time just fixing things that broke. Dealing with the lenses is going to be a big issue that I don't know how we're going to deal with. We'll get to that later this week when we have a discussion. We still have a scheduled time slot to discuss Oneiric, however people want to say it. I trust my speech synthesizer, Oneiric. Oneiric cycle to talk about Unity accessibility. And with the advent of Unity 2D/Qt, we're sort of starting to make plans for that as well. That's still very early days and will likely not be complete by 11.10.
So what's the issue with lenses? I'm not familiar with that.
I don't really know either. I've just been told, how are you going to deal with lenses? Firstly, we need to get the dash accessible and then go from there, basically. Because I can't really play with it myself, I'm not exactly sure about the idea of what a lens is and how it works and how it's supposed to be super awesome for people to use. But I'll find that out soon enough. So
the Unity accessibility stuff, is that using kind of the standard GNOME APIs?
No, since Unity is sitting on top of, so what we've got Unity sitting on top of Compiz, and then an additional toolkit, I think 3D rendering toolkit called Nux was developed. Basically, what we are doing is we're tying in a component that was originally developed for use with GNOME and GTK called libatk, the accessibility toolkit. We're tying that into low-level parts of Unity, and with some additional information that we get from Nux widgets and objects, we then pass on more information via ATK. And then from there, we're pretty much using the rest of what used to be a GNOME-only framework, the ATSPI, that's AT-SPI framework. In recent year or so, work has been ongoing to make that more of a desktop-agnostic framework. And the idea of ATSPI framework is to present a standard way of querying and interacting with GUI widgets. I won't say GTK because it's more than just GTK now that we've got Qt coming on board. It's GUI widgets in being able to query, find out their location on screen, find out what the parent is. You basically got similar to a window. You've got the root window, then you've got children, which may you might have like a frame with other widgets. So you've got the parent-child hierarchy. It's the same principle for the accessibility framework. The framework stores everything about the GUI in terms of what sort of widget it is, whether it's a menu bar, menu item, check button, radio button, you name it. Knows the XY coordinates and allows software such as the Orca screen reader to query widgets and read their contents, as well as actually poke those widgets so that the widgets, so you can interact with them.
Okay, nice. I don't know the details that well, but I know I've heard mention that there's some pretty big accessibility issues with embedded WebKit right now. Do you know what those are? If there's what kind of the progress is on that?
WebKit itself, well, it's an interesting conundrum. One thing that is happening though is WebKit GTK, which is I think sort of a GTK sort of wrapper around WebKit, is actually almost completely accessible now. So the Orca developers have been working on getting support for that. Excuse me. Been working on getting support for WebKit GTK. So now we find that things like Epiphany works to an extent. And anything with embedded, WebKit stuff. Like it's possible to say use Orca to navigate via. Orca's got a mode where you can sort of navigate the layout of the screen called flat review mode. You're not actually interacting with the using the interacting with the window, you're sort of getting an overview of the window. You can look at things like Gwibber and stuff like that, and anything that's WebKit, you can get an overview. Or actually, the Yelp system also uses WebKit in NATI. So yeah, WebKit's actually coming along pretty well. Chrome uses its own embedded version of WebKit, and it's not WebKit GTK, so it doesn't work, of course. If anything that's using WebKit GTK, if it generally will work, it may require a bit more work to enable what's known as carrot browsing, which basically allows you to use a cursor to navigate around the contents of the web page via cursor key, and Orca can just track that. But yeah, generally anything that's using WebKit GTK at this point should mostly work, if not completely.
And so that applies to things like the Software Center and the installer and...
Well, I believe that Software Center is not using WebKit nearly as much as it used to, but yes. Software Center may still be using WebKit, and if so, that's great because it works pretty well. There may be still a few little warts that need to be investigated, but I was recently playing with Software Center and found that everything worked quite well. So at least everything, so far as I had a look, I didn't dig that deeply into Software Center to see just what didn't work. But yeah, on the surface, it was great, worked well.